السلام عليكم. لا تنسوا الاعجاب بالفيديو والاشتراك في القناة تشجيعا لنا لنستمر بنشر المزيد ان شاء الله.
Can you demonstrate? Can you show me the evidence?
I can show you in the earliest manuscript.
No, can you show me? No.
So you don't like manuscripts?
No. Can you show me the evidence of that happening today, where you have different Qur'ans being recited all over the world?
Does not conform to many of your earliest manuscripts.
Can you answer the question? Can you show me evidence?
If you talked about the biblical text, and
I'm not talking about the biblical text.
Yeah, but I'm saying you would never accept it.
No, of course.
You would never
well,
accept
I would accept it if they could demonstrate to me.
What, an oral tradition?
If they could demonstrate, yes, absolutely. If they could demonstrate to me that we have an oral tradition.
And you wouldn't say things like, no, Chinese whispers.
Let me finish. If they could demonstrate to me that we have an oral tradition, this is the James. This is the actual Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. This is their oral tradition, okay? And we have lineages coming out from these scholars, right? Who taught hundreds, thousands, and now millions of people. And guess what? Every recitation of the Bible is letter for letter, word for word correct. You know what I would have to say humbly? That, you know what? Maybe I don't accept that this is from God, but I would have to concede that the only rational possibility is that there has to be preservation. That this could not have happened the way you're saying, Chinese whispers.
We know there wasn't preservation in your written materials, your earliest written materials.
So we talk about the written material. Yeah. Okay. So who is saying, according to our written material, the Quran is not preserved?
Daniel Brubaker.
Daniel Brubaker.
He's a contemporary scholar to Yasser Qadhi.
Daniel Brubaker is what? Sorry.
He's a contemporary Arabic Quran expert who studies the earliest manuscripts, and he has said that they are differences between the earliest manuscripts and the standardized 1924.
Which work of Daniel Brubaker are you referring to?
Well, particularly his book. He wrote a book that was like a popular.
No, we debunked that book in various ways.
This is the brother who debunked it, by the way.
So you're talking about
he was one of the brothers who debunked
examples or so.
Yeah.
And what does these 20 examples demonstrate?
Demonstrate differences between the standardized Hafs Quran and the earliest manuscripts you have. They also demonstrate the existence of polypsis, which is manuscripts that were written over in a parchment or vellum with actual new words.
Let's talk about Daniel Brubaker.
So you added new words.
So Daniel Brubaker wrote a book in which he's saying there are corrections in the manuscript traditions.
Yeah.
Did he, let me ask you this question now, because I'm sure you have read his book, you've understood his book, you've understood his methodology, and then you've verified that it's a robust methodology, so conclusions are correct.
Mainstream scholar.
Did you hear what I just said?
Yes.
So you've read his book, understood his methodology, so conclusions you are agreeing that is correct. So let me ask you, a particular manuscript, he's saying there seems to be a correction happening here about a particular word, right?
Yeah.
So did he then tell you or tell us that from the other contemporaneous manuscripts from that time period, either earlier, at the same time, or just a little bit later, from around the globe, other manuscripts? So we are talking about witnesses from other manuscripts, not only one isolated manuscript. Has he done that in his book, and what did he say when he did that?
You mean, has he compared multiple manuscripts? The answer is yes, he has compared multiple manuscripts.
So
he mentions in his book particular ones that are thought of as being, by Muslims anyway, as Uthman copies. Most scholars say they're not Uthman copies.
Let me give you the first example of his 20 examples, right? So how many other manuscripts has also the same corrections that he compared?
Well, the corrections are often unique to particular manuscripts, right?
Let me ask you again. When we want to demonstrate something has been corrupted, because he says corruption in the manuscripts, right? So we should find. Find changes.
Or an insertion, or a removal.
Do you know his title of his PhD thesis?
No.
Intentional changes, something along these lines, right? So basically he's saying this kind of corruption.
Well, we know that there was, because we know, for example...
No, let's not talk about that. When you say we know...
Let me explain what I'm talking about.
When you say we know, have you read his thesis?
Let me just explain what I'm talking about.
Okay, have you read his thesis?
No, I've read his book. Let me explain what I'm talking about. He has noted in many earliest manuscripts, which are thought of as being copies of Uthman in the Islamic tradition, have the word he replaced over with the word Allah in many places.
Okay.
So a
Let me
scribe
now-
at some point has decided that
Look,
was
as I
incorrect.
said, I have not only read his book,
Okay.
we have responded to his book.
Okay.
And it's a book that is available in academia free of charge, of course, over 300 pages.
Okay, but he hasn't actually
can
made
I finish
any
my
opinion.
point? Can I make a
Sure,
point?
sure.
Right. Because you're bringing him as a scholar who has an opinion on this issue about preservation.
He is an expert
Okay.
in the field.
Right. According to who?
According to academia, according to Yasser Qadhi, according
no,
to
no.
all of the other
Hang on.
Quranic experts, he is an expert in that field.
He's an expert in what?
In Quranic studies, in the original Aramaic language for other manuscripts.
Original Aramaic language. Anyway, okay, besides the point.
The one
Besides
that
the
the,
point.
Quran-
Yeah, of course. Expert in Aramaic language. I'm sure you will
Are you
reflect
saying
on
he
it.
isn't?
No, I'm sure you'll reflect on it much later. Let's come back to this point. So the example he brings, for example, he says this particular manuscript, say this is manuscript in top copy, right? Top manuscripts, it has a particular corrections there. So according to what you've read, because you've read this book,
Yeah.
he has compared with the other manuscript from the same time period. We are talking about producing what we call a stemma. So he has looked at manuscript from same region or different regions from the same time, maybe about 8th century, 7th century, whichever manuscript top copy is from, right? I'm not going to help you with the dates now. So either he's brought manuscript from before or after or contemporary time. And then he said, look, we have the same correction happening in all the other manuscripts, right?
No, I don't think it happens in all of them, you saying me.
No, I'm just
saying
giving you
that-
example number 1, and then I'm continuing with example number 2, 3, 4, up to 20. So has he done that with every examples, and he demonstrated that right? Yes, yeah?
He is doing it with manuscripts as he is studying them. He's taking note of them. For example, in his written work, 20 examples, he
You
only picked 20.
misunderstood my question.
Okay, sorry.
In his PhD thesis, he had about 800 or so examples.
Okay, sure.
You haven't read it?
No, I
problem.
haven't read his. I haven't said that.
The
read his
book,
book.
the book says 20 examples,
Yes, that's-
but it has more than 20 anyway, even though
Yeah,
it says
exactly.
20.
I know, yeah.
So within these 20 examples,
Yeah.
obviously as a good scholar, he would say, look, this is a manuscript, and we have compared with other manuscripts around the same time period, and we have found there are corrections on those as well, because that's when people are corrupting it, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
Wrong. You haven't read his book, because he doesn't compare with other manuscripts.
No, I'm just
From his-
talking with what you would do. You described a methodology. I agree with that.
But that's- so
I
he
agree
hasn't
with
done
you.
that.
Yes, that's not the
So-
intention of his book.
Wait. What is he trying to show you?
He's
that-
trying to show you that there are differences between certain manuscripts and the standardized Hafs.
Okay, can I just say one thing here? The brother raised the point about methodology.
Yeah.
You agreed that that would be the
Yes.
better methodology. Hold on a second.
No.
Please, one second.
Okay.
You agreed that that would be the correct methodology.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be the fair, just methodology. Yeah. But he doesn't do that.
Has he done
Yes.
that in his PhD
But he
thesis?
doesn't do that.
He's doing this.
No. But the point is,
Oh yeah. Well, how long does it take to
No.
go? through all the different manuscripts?
The point
Whatever.
is that he hasn't done that.
Yes. What he's done.
No. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
The point is that he's not done that.
Yes.
And now hold on. I haven't finished yet.
My friend, I already agree with what
No,
you're saying.
right.
I want to talk
So
about what he is saying.
therefore, when somebody doesn't do something that they are supposed to do to ensure that there is trust within a methodology, what should one conceivably do?
My friend, you need to understand.
One should
All
put
he's-
it aside
But not only this,
and
though,
not
this.
trust it.
This is-
Just to
Right.
bring you in the reality scene here, because you're somehow divorced from reality in what happens.
Why we say that?
Let me explain. So in our response to his book, we have shown 7, 8, 9, 10 other manuscripts from around the same time frame, roughly, right?
Sure.
Sometimes early, sometimes contemporaneous, sometimes a bit later, because we are talking about establishing a stemma. And we have shown, let's say 8 other manuscripts has exactly the same word like we have on our Quran today. Let me
Right,
finish my
I
point.
agree.
Let me finish my point though.
Agreeing with you.
With every example, if we can demonstrate that we have more than one manuscript from any manuscript that he brings, with the so-called corrections, we have many other manuscripts. Early.
That's like the Christian position.
Let me finish my point.
Not at all. Not at
Just
all.
to show you how insignificant his work is. The word is insignificant. So if we find for every example he brings, I bring you other 7 more examples of manuscripts, which is exactly the same reading as our manuscripts or other Quranic text today, It tells you and I and my brother here that the Quranic text that we read today is in line with our manuscript tradition, exactly preserved. So that means, how do we then explain those corrections? We go by looking at this particular example. Has this correction been made by the scribe by a mistake, a lapse of memory in writing? So you can see, for example, he writes at the end of a line and it comes to an alif. And then when he comes again to the next line, he repeats that alif again. Now, that is something he realized he didn't do. So this is a mistake that you find common in all manuscript traditions, including biblical manuscripts.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
Right. So these corrections do not point to Qur'an's not being preserved when we have other manuscripts with the same text of the Quran today. That points to Quranic preservation of our text. Do you agree?
No. Because your view of preservation, your version of preservation is not the same as the Christian version.
We're not talking about Christian preservation.
I know,
talking about my textual preservation.
What you described is basically a really good Christian argument.
Not at all.
But it does not apply to the Quran whatsoever.
Not at all.
They say that the Quran has been perfectly preserved. Well, we know that's not true. We can go to the earliest manuscripts and see variants in it.
Like what?
The ones that Daniel Brubaker has.
Which one? Give an example.
Okay, so in one of the manuscripts, I can't remember which one. I can find out if we need to. But there was repeated attempts to change the word he in many verses to the word Allah. It was written over in many of these manuscripts.
You know what? You should rather, instead of relying on this particular one individual, why don't
But
you...
that's a contemporary of scholarship. He is in the same bracket as Yasser Qadi.
Who said that?
They work together. They
They
write
don't
together.
work together.
They write together.
They don't write
They are
together.
contemporaries. They
They
write,
don't work
they
together.
peer review
They don't
each
write
work.
together. Yasser Qadi is not a Quranic scholar. Neither is Daniel Brubaker. Daniel Brubaker did his PhD thesis
He literally, that's his job.
Listen.
Okay.
Daniel Brubaker done a PhD.
Yes.
And that makes him a
He works
scholar?
for a university.
That makes him a scholar.
Okay, hold
Yeah.
on. Okay, hold on a second.
What? His name's Doctor.
Okay.
Oh, he's a
my
doctor.
God.
So you're saying
So-
doctors aren't scholars?
So that makes him an expert.
So,
Yes.
I gave him the comment by
Do you know
Wait, what?
about Dr. Tayyar Altikulach?
or Angela Newith, as I mentioned.
Do you know about Deroche?
No.
Angela Newith?
If you
Germany?
don't know about Deroche
Okay.
and you think he's a scholar of the Quran, then you must be someone who is in evangelical Christianity. Is that right?
All I know is that Daniel
That's what they do.
Daniel Brubaker is
Can he
someone
speak Arabic?
Can he?
Can Daniel Brubaker
yes,
speak Arabic?
to some degree. I've heard him say Arabic things, yeah.
If you
He
look
reads
at
it and he
if you
writes
look
it.
at my Twitter exchange with him, now you realize I've exchanged with him, your so-called scholar. He makes so many basic mistakes in simple Arabic grammar that a child won't do, which I highlighted to him in his PhD thesis
Okay. People make mistakes.
and in his book.
Yeah, people make mistakes. I
No.
don't, that's not a
Do you
reputation.
do you understand what I just said?
That's saying he made a
He
mistake somewhere.
doesn't even know basic Arabic language.
So what it suggests is that there's not one unified reading or understanding of the Quran.
From that scribe's point of view in that manuscript.
That's what it suggests.
yeah.
Yes?
That's
Yes.
fine, because you pointed out there is another...
Did he use the correct methodology to come to that conclusion?
Let me finish the sentence. You have pointed out accurately that you can use other manuscripts to deter what the likely reading is meant to be. No problem with that. What I am saying to you, though, is that in your early manuscript tradition, there are manuscripts that do not conform with the standardized Hafs Quran today.
So did
in
he-
the same way that that's true for the Bible, in the same way that's true for the Torah.
You keep repeating the same thing, hoping.
But that's all I'm saying. But you then take that.
Yeah, but you simply are repeating the
This is,
same thing, hoping.
Corrections in the early Quran
You're,
manuscripts.
oh,
by
sorry, you guys
Daniel.
having that? Okay, go on.
He just asked me a
No,
question.
go, please go ahead. Yeah, go on. No, go on. Explain to him the book that you're talking about.
He just asked me a question.
He's like your master is telling you what
I don't know. You can't have a
No, it's not about being
conversation with him.
master. If I'm having a conversation with him, and then other people ask him a question about the book, he can say, "Sorry, I'm just having a conversation."
fine. I just passed
After
the
I
book
finish,
back.
Literally, I just finished.
Okay.
No, I'm back to
So
this.
now, he said they're flexible readings. Did
In that
he
particular
use
manuscript.
the correct methodology to enable him to reach that conclusion?
So, give me a second.
Let me see. Is that secret?
That's not a secret. I'll show you. I'm just going to say. Yeah.
Continue your conversational.
Right, sorry.
He used the correct methodology to come to that conclusion.
What conclusion?
That's what I'm trying to say to you. Pay attention.
No,
Otherwise, you're going to lose.
I've already said the
you're gonna
conclusion. The conclusion is actually really mild.
The conclusion is that the text is flexible.
That particular manuscript is flexible
No,
in terms of how the original scribe
He
understood it.
didn't say just that particular text, did he? He said text.
Yes, he gives examples of other
The
manuscripts.
text is flexible.
Yes, in terms of how some
Did he
scribes
use the
understood,
correct methodology to arrive at a conclusion?
which is that you find the manuscripts and you find that they've been changed. Yes.
He used the correct methodology.
You're talking about a methodology that will tell you what the likely intended
Did
standardized
he use
meaning
the correct
is.
methodology to arrive at that
You're
conclusion?
asking me for a different question.
Did he arrive?
No, listen.
Did he
your question
use-
is wrong.
Did
Simple as.
did he use the correct methodology to arrive at that conclusion?
Yes, by looking at a
Yes,
manuscript
okay.
and finding that manuscript
Did he compare
had
it to
different
other
words in it.
manuscripts?
Yes. he
Okay,
said yes,
okay.
like,
If
he
you want to
said
find
yes.
out what the likely version is, you
No,
that's
no,
the correct
so-
for
so-
that
so you
question.
said- so you said
But
yes?
For a different
Yes,
question,
he said yes.
which is about
okay,
the flexibility
no problem, I can handle yes.
of the
So you
single
said yes.
manuscript.
You said yes. Yes.
Yes.
You would just look
Yes.
at that manuscript and then you would look at it
You said
from
yes.
a paleography point of view
You
to
said yes.
understand.
Man
I don't know.
said
I don't
yes.
You said yes. Just stop. You
Stop,
said
he said yes, bro.
Just stop.
But he keeps having
No,
this
no,
obsession
just
with this
stop.
other
You said
methodology.
yes. You said earlier that the correct methodology would have been to compare it to.
For different questions,
Hold on
yeah.
a second.
For different questions, yeah.
You said it would have been better to have compared the
yeah,
manuscripts that
everything
existed
seems to be
before, during, and after. Did he do that?
No, because that's not what he's intending to show.
So he didn't do that.
Why did he not do that?
Right. No.
Because it wasn't what
Why
he
is it
intended to
irrelevant?
show.
No.
See,
The why is irrelevant. What is relevant is that he didn't do that.
he's only showing, the entire point of this book is to say there are manuscripts that do not correlate to the standardized
You
Hafs
said
Quran.
he used
That
the correct.
is it.
You said he used the correct methodology to ascertain
To ascertain that there are not
that there are
manuscripts
flexible
that
readings.
in that manuscript, just
Okay.
that manuscript.
Okay, there are
because there is
fine.
a scribe that is
So you said
overwritten
yes.
it.
You said yes.
That's it. Yes.
Yes. So he shouldn't have compared it to the manuscripts that existed before, during,
That's
and
not
after.
what he's trying to answer.
No. Did he
he's
compare
not
them?
answering that question.
Did he compare them?
No, because he's
No.
not answering that
Should he have done
question.
so?
Not for this question.
No, he shouldn't have done so.
Not for this question.
So this question of the fact that this word was changed or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah, in a manuscript,
he
yeah.
should not compare that to the existing manuscripts that existed before,
He's
during,
not
and
trying
after.
to figure out what the intended words were. He was trying to understand why there are manuscripts that do not clarify to the Hafs Quran
Do
today.
you realise how ludicrous that argument is?
Mate, it's
Shall
not
I-
even an argument.
shall I-
It's literally just me explaining what the
Shall I-
intent of his
shall I-
work
shall I
was
explain?
and you disagreeing with
Shall
it.
I explain that to you? Because I think you really
You
misunderstand.
don't even understand what he tried to do. You haven't even read the book, dude.
Listen, I've read enough of it to know what he's going at. I've watched enough of his videos.
His conclusion.
I've watched enough of his videos to know exactly where he's coming from and where he's going.
It's the most
I know.
milquetoast conclusion
No.
that you could ever
Hold on
get.
a second.
I'm losing
His
patience.
fundamental
with you.
his fundamental argument is the Quran was not one preserved text. That correct?
Not in the way that Islamic has been understood. It's more like in the way that the Torah and the Injil has been understood.
So it was not one preserved text.
We know that. Well, that's obvious because there were manuscripts that were accepted
Whether
as
it's
being...
obvious or not is irrelevant. That's his argument.
That's okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I do understand his argument, then, don't I?
Yeah, but you're,
Yeah.
you're trying to compare it to a different
No.
argument. And that different argument is what was the likely correct version based off the number of manuscripts and
so
other things.
number one,
And that's not
number
what
one,
he's
I
talking
understand his
about.
argument, don't I?
Yeah, from what you said before.
Right,
yeah.
and he uses evidence to support that argument, doesn't he?
Yeah, which was showing the manuscripts that do not agree with the Hafs
Right.
Quran today. Yeah.
Right. And did he use manuscripts that existed before, during, and after to make
That's
sure?
not relevant to what he just said.
Hold on a
though.
second.
That's not relevant.
Okay,
is it?
let me just explain something to you.
Okay.
When you have a variant, what are the possibilities of that variant arising?
Is that a question he's trying to address in his book?
I'm asking you.
Doesn't want to answer. Doesn't want to answer. You know that's not what he
If
tried
a
to do in
variant
his book.
exists, what are the possible ways that variant can exist?
Many different ways. He goes into scribal error.
I'm
is one
asking
way.
you.
One way is that there is he interprets a flexibility
Scribal
and
error.
the acceptability
Scribal
in whether
error.
you can say he or Allah.
How would you ascertain whether it's a scribal error or not?
Based on the context, based on looking at through studies of paleography, the actual thing. You can also go to other ones and understand that. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Did he
but
do that?
That's not his intent.
Did he do that?
He's not aggressive. You're not addressing my
No,
point.
I'm asking you whether
You
he did
you
that or
want
not.
to make the argument about something different.
No, I'm not making a different
And
argument
I'm
at all.
not going
no,
into that
no,
argument.
No. Look,
I'm only
let
starting
me explain
in the
something
fact
to you.
there is-
I've got to pray now, right? And I'm going to conclude now. If I make an argument against the Bible,
Okay.
you're a Christian, right?
Sure, yeah.
And I say the Bible is corrupt.
Sure.
Yes? And I provide you evidence that
Okay.
demonstrates why it's corrupt.
Yeah.
Not just from my own opinion, but from the majority of your own scholars
Yeah.
who say that it is corrupt
Sure.
because we don't have the originals.
Sure, yeah. Well,
Yes.
we don't have the originals or anything.
You don't have the originals of the Bible, right?
Quran, yeah.
Well, so that's your argument. But your argument, as we've seen, has failed, right? Now,
Well, I just made that.
now
No,
I have
that's a new
now
argument, yeah.
you have to, you can question me. What is your methodology? How have you arrived at this position?
But we're not interested in that. That's not the
No,
question.
well, we should be interested
yeah,
in that.
I agree. For a
We
separate
should be.
question.
But then you
For a
should
separate
speak to the
question.
right
We should be.
people. You should speak to the
I
right
agree with
people.
you. Good point. Very
And
good
then
point.
If I'm gonna pick up a
Very good point.
an Indian person and let them tell me about your
Exactly.
Bible, that's sabotage. So
I agree
it's
with
the same
you.
what you do with
Very good
Christians.
point. You see, look.
When you
yes.
catch a Christian and
Yes.
you twist them and
Yes.
when you speak to a true Israelite,
Yes.
then we can speak
yes.
about the problem.
So, brother, you know who he's quoting?
He's hiding his book.
An
from me.
evangelical Christian. You make a very good point, yeah? You make a very good point, yeah? He's quoting an evangelical Christian
Exactly.
who's telling me, he's telling me that my Quran is not preserved.
Exactly.
When I'm now questioning his method,
Pointless.
I'm not discarding him because he's Christian.
I would.
I'm not doing that.
discarded him.
No. I'm not. I'm saying. No. What I'm saying.
did, my friend.
Okay, I did say that. Yes,
that's fine.
but what I'm saying to you that does not necessarily mean that his works are discarded. But what I would do, of course, just as any human being would do, if you've got a dog in the race, I'm going to be a little bit more skeptical with what you say, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So if I'm a Muslim and I'm saying, oh, Islam is wonderful, it's great, you can logically, rationally, you can say, well, you would say that you're a Muslim,
you're
right?
not Israelite.
Yeah,
You're not
right,
Israelite.
right.
Absolutely.
So now,
Israelite would never
so
discriminate.
now, I have a reason to be perhaps okay. Well, he's an evangelical Christian. We know how the intra-religious discussions are going between Christians and Muslims, right? And textual criticism, it tends to be one of the hot topics, right?
sure.
Okay, so it's not let's say unfair of me to perhaps be a little bit skeptical.
Well, again,
So what will I do? I will look at his methodology. What is the methodology he's adopted in order to come to this conclusion of flexible text? Yes? Is that fair, brother? Yeah? Is that fair? Is that fair? Okay. So now when I do that, through your own admission, the methodology is faulty, and you're still quoting him.
No.
Go home, man.
The intent of this. The intent
Go
of
home,
it.
man. You know what I mean? Bedtime, man.
Anyway, I've got to pray. You know what? I can't keep going over this again and again. Through your own methodology, his methodology is wrong, and you're still quoting him verbatim,
Stop
like as if
bashing,
he's.
stop bashing
you
white
know.
Christian about the Bible because that's
I don't.
unfair
We're not here to
beating.
bash. We're not
Yeah,
here to bash, brother.
No, but
we're not here to bash. But if something look, brother, if you're doing something that I feel is going to cause you harm,
Definitely.
I'm going to say, brother,
Guide
don't
him,
do
yeah.
that. It's going to cause you harm.
Muslims
Yeah,
are fine.
yeah.
Guide, yeah.
If you're a good Christian and you think that you're on hack on the truth, and you think I'm going to harm myself, you're going to say, brother Abbas, don't be a Muslim. You got to be a Christian, and these are the reasons. Yes.
I believe that Muslims should be Muslims and Israelites should because the book,
I
the
think
book
we
is for
should
the
we should
Israelites, not for
arrive,
Christians.
brother. We should arrive at the truth, not arrive at what our forefathers
Exactly.
did or what anyone tells
That's
us
true.
to do.
That's true.
Yeah, evidence,
That's
evidence.
why I would love to have a conversation.
Alhamdulillah, brothers, take your microphone. I've got to go and pray Maghrib. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Whose microphone is that?
Brothers and sisters, Allahu Akbar. Thanks to your tremendous support, we have, Alhamdulillah, paid the final installment for this huge masjid property. And now we need your support to convert this 2,700 square meters building into the most amazing Islamic center in the country of Norway, inshallah.
But bro, this does not look like a masjid. It looks like a wedding hall.
And that's exactly what this is. Brothers and sisters, we need your support to reconstruct this wedding hall into a masjid and community center so we can have our prayer hall for us to establish salah 5 times a day, an indoor playground for the kids to nurture love for the house of Allah, a conference hall for lectures and reminders about Islam.
We need classrooms for education, a library to study, a gym for exercise, and a soup kitchen to help the poor and needy.
If you support us, even with a small sadaqah, you will inshallah harvest a reward for all of these facilities and the khair that they generate throughout the years, all the way until the day we meet Allah.
The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever builds a masjid for the sake of Allah, Allah will build for him a similar house in Jannah. So what are you waiting for? click the button to donate and share the video for extra rewards.
إذا أعجبك الفيديو لا تنسى الإعجاب والتعليق، ولكي يصلك كل جديد اشترك الآن